December 20, 1990. My brother was shot by a drug syndicate because of mistaken identity. After a year, my father had a heart stroke because of the sadness that he felt. He carried it. When my grandmother saw the coffin of my father, she fell down and she wasn't able to recover. She died after 4 months of grief. I lost 3 loved ones, Chris. I tell you. You give happiness to people who are saddened by unusual incidents. You give happiness to them. You give inspiration to them. That's how I define hope. I'm Dante Jimenez, the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption, Philippines, and I share hope.
Welcome to I Share Hope, the podcast where world leaders share their real stories of hope and how you can use actionable hope to start changing your life today. And now, here's your host, Chris Williams.
Dante Jimenez is my guest today, and I really am thrilled to talk to you, Dante. You've done so much with sharing hope. So you started the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption in the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken, and there's a website that we're going to have on the show notes for this interview, and it's really, really amazing what you've done. You've accomplished a lot. You've put together lawyers, business leaders, youth organizations, and so much more to fight corruption that's so rampant, not just in one area, but it's worldwide, and so much we can do there. So, Dante, tell me more about yourself, and where are you right now?
Okay, I'm in Manila, Philippines, and this advocacy of ours started when, I say ours because there were thousands of volunteers now in the Philippines doing the same advocacy, fighting against crime and corruption. And before I became an activist in the streets, in a way, I served with the Philippine Navy for 10 years, 5 years in bordership, 5 years with intelligence. And I also worked with American servicemen when I was with the Navy, doing some naval exercises when I was a junior officer. And this thing that happened to my brother, it's almost 24 years ago, to be exact, December 20, 1990. I cannot forget that in my entire life, maybe until I die. My brother was shot by a drug syndicate in one of the suburbs here in Metro Manila because of mistaken identity. Mistaken because we had the party line here in the 1990s, the telephone here. So I would say not so common among resident owners or household owners. They had a heated argument with this lady whom we identified later on to be a drug queen, trafficking drugs in our suburb, in our subdivision. And this was actually when my brother was shot and killed. This was revealed already by my sister during the investigation that she overheard my brother discussing with a party line. And so he said, and I can recall, I will inform the authorities. Okay? So maybe our party line then, because she was involved in drug trafficking, mistook it as my brother will be reporting this to the police. But no, it is actually to report to the Philippine Long Distance Telephone Company, the telephone company that manages some telephone lines here in Manila, in the Philippines. So that was one of the motives that we raised before the investigators. 10 motives, including his former girlfriend who had got married earlier. So until, of course, when my brother was shot on December 20, 1990, that was one of my most unforgettable moments in my life. I was at our father's, our parents' ancestral home. We dropped by with my wife and just to bring some food for the household helpers because they were living there alone. I got married already. And so phone rang, and the secretary of my brother said, Buboy, that's his nickname, met an accident, just met an accident. So what kind of accident? The secretary didn't tell me exactly what. So where is he? He's in the municipal hospital of Parañaque. That's another suburb here in Metro Manila. So I rushed there. Oh, my God, what I saw, my brother was in a stretcher with a wound in his forehead, right above his eyebrow. Oh. So I rushed in immediately together with the doctor of the municipal clinic to the nearby hospital, major hospital. There he was given the treatment, but actually he was already in comatose. So that practically changed my life, Chris, and until now.
How old were you when that happened? Was he an
Oh
older
my
brother
God.
or younger brother? Is he older or younger than you?
Younger brother, Chris. I think if you, I'm already 62 years old, by the way. I'm
No,
already
you're
62
not.
years old.
No way.
I'm in this advocacy for 24, so you minus that. That's my age when
Okay.
that happened. So that's how aging I am now. But I hope we can meet in the future and have a more lengthy discussions.
I'm really sorry that happened, and I'm sorry it happened, and I'm at the same time, I'm glad you're fighting the fight that you are. I wish that didn't have to be the start for it, but I am really glad, and I know so many others are so glad you're doing what you're doing today.
So Grace, that did not stop there. The killing of my brother. What aggravated things in the family, especially myself. A year later, my father, who used to serve also with the Philippine Navy, and he retired because he's the junior. My brother was a junior. My father was the senior. He was a naval architect, 31 years old, not married yet, but had a girlfriend. After a year, my father had a heart stroke because of the sadness that he felt. He carried it all throughout, but he was able to survive that pain of losing a junior, a son who should have taken over his being an engineer. So, and then what else aggravated the situation? When my grandmother saw the coffin of my father, the mother of my father, she fell down and she wasn't able to recover. She died after 4 months of grief.
You said she fell down when she saw your father's coffin and fell down.
Yeah.
Wow.
I lost 3 loved ones, Chris. I tell you. My God, that's why until now, I'm sorry, I have to be very emotional. Every time I relate this to friends, and wow, it's really quite unforgettable experience. So, because there's a saying in the Philippines, Chris, I think I don't know in other countries, the parents do not bury their children. It is the children that must bury the parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard that many times before, and she didn't have that experience. She saw it the backwards way. Yeah. Oh, that's a tragic story. It really is. Tell me about your definition or your favorite quote about hope. You're obviously, even through all of that, a man of great hope. So what is your definition of hope? Well,
exactly the spelling of hope. This H, I would say, stands for happiness. You give happiness to people who are saddened by unusual incidents, by catastrophe, by natural or man-made. You give happiness to them. You give inspiration to them. And before you give inspiration to them, the second letter to the word hope, you have to be one. You are one with the philosophy of truthfulness. You have to be one. You have to be together. Give happiness, but you have to be together, not only yourself and a few friends, but you have to have the one goal. And peace stands for peace, the next letter for hope, which everybody will be benefiting, whether you are an incidental murderer or rapist, because at least you're now at peace. You admitted everything. And then you're also at peace because you have been a victim. You give peace to your family, to yourself. And then E stands for endearment. You become endeared to your loved ones, to your children, especially in the Philippines, because we value so much family closeness. So that's how I define hope.
I've never heard that before. So happiness, oneness, peace, and endearment.
Yes.
Wow, that's a great acrostic and a great way to remember those things. The word hope. Thank you. Question number 2. Who has shared the most hope with you in your life? Who's given you the most happiness, oneness, peace, and endearment?
Well, of course, family. The oneness of the family has given me peace because I have 3 daughters, by the way, 3. Oh my God. God did not give me any boy. It's 3 Marias, we call it. So these are the people who are who gives me moral support. And though it's a very dangerous mission I'm doing here in the Philippines, and in fact, my wife said, Papa, he calls me Papa, why are you still pursuing your advocacy of helping victims? You have already solved the case of your brother. And after 7 years, that was the justice system of the Philippines. So I said, it's now my life. I'm in this. I've been in the streets. I've been in the powers of government. I've been appointed as government, an NGO, non-government organization representative in various commissions in fighting crime, in fighting private armies, in fighting corruption. I shared this with the association, with our group, with my co-victims and co-survivors. So that's how I lead now.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I really am. I keep saying that. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, but you're making such a huge difference. Question number 3, and I think you may have already mentioned this, but a time in your life when hope was really all you had to fall back on because times were tough. And you've talked about the loss of your brother and your father, and so
and
many.
My grandmother.
Yeah. So, is there another time you want to mention, or we already covered that?
I'm very emotional, Chris. You see, I sound very emotional, and up to now, I am still hoping that things will be right for other families. I'm now not fighting for our case already because the culprits are already in jail. The master branch we have sent to jail. And after 7 years of cruise, very difficult justice system here in the Philippines, we won. I'm not like the president of this country who not have even identified the masterminds of the killing of Ninoy Aquino, the father, which resulted to their being president. I'm sorry I have to mention this because that's how I inform or tell our victims, go for the masterminds, not just the hired killers.
Yeah, good point. Start at the top. That's a great point. Let's go for question number 4. Question number 4 is, how are you sharing hope today? What are you doing today to share hope with yourself or someone else?
Well, I'm not in government. We have a very decent business. I'm involved in shipping and manning and crewing and education and training. We have 3 schools in the province. We have 7,000 students at a given time. I'm happy with what I have, and then I focus my advocacy as my social responsibility to our community. So I said, maybe when I reach 70, Chris, I'll be serving the church as as a senior, or one who is included in the choir, and be there and silently maybe join our Lord when time's up. So that's. And my children are already okay. I'm already involved in the business. The other ones are almost finished with this management course, so I'm okay. And then, of course, excesses of my income I give to victims, our organization. I give to, there is such thing as in the Philippines, you have to really exist even without any donations, even grants. We have our co-victims, they are rich, they are medium class, they share the bounties and excess for our court watch. So these are what I'm now busy of.
That's extremely busy. It's extremely busy. You're doing an incredible amount. Okay, question number 5, and I can't wait to hear the answer for this because you've obviously thought through how to do things. Question 5 is, how do I grow in hope, or how should I start sharing hope with my own community? And obviously, my story is not your story, and anybody who's listening, in over 30 countries right now, we have people listening, and none of our stories are the same. So how do we start sharing hope with others in our community, or growing as people of hope and ourselves?
Yeah, many people have their own advocacies in life. Many are being groomed or being there as perhaps an advocate of change, but very few really usually succumb. Very few really succumb to the idea of power, of politics, of fame, etc., etc. I think whatever you do in life, you have to be happy with what you're doing. There should no self-interest covered with it or included in it. You have to be unselfish. That's Christianity. See? You have to share. Yeah, that's good. You have to share what you have experienced. Like, for instance, in our organization, in our thousands of victims in the Philippines, I tell you, Chris, in the Philippines, there are daily killings here. I'm sorry to share this with the other peoples of the world, but please include our country in your prayers, because every day there are rapes, incestuous rapes, father raping their children. Oh my God. And worse, raping children, killing them, and burning them to ashes.
Oh, wow.
These are the major cases that we've been usually handling in the provinces. We have 7,100 islands spread in this republic. But my gosh, statistics of policemen would say it's low and oh, come on. You listen to the radio, listen to television news, because that's what we have now. A very good media, freedom of speech here. Of course, there's too much politics. But what you have to do individually, don't expect some reward. Don't expect that you'll be rewarded with government with a medal, valor medal. You'll be rewarded with money. You know what? The latest victims here of in Mindanao, I think they have heard these 44 Special Action Force policemen who were killed by rebels. In fact, there were some Americans who are party to it. See, to save. But you see, 44 lost their lives because of very irresponsible decision of leaders. And if you are a leader in your community, be sure that you can be accountable to what you do. This is what I'm doing. I have to be very careful in my daily course. I have to do away with all those materialistic and this worldly need of man. You know what I mean, Chris? You're a man. Mm-hmm. I have to sacrifice those things, set those aside, so that you can be a good example to the community. Many are called, but few are chosen, as they say.
What a great example. What a great example. So you're saying we need to be happy. The first part of the hope word there, we need to be happy and connected personally to what we are doing and how we're sharing in our communities. And then we need to throw off the things that are holding us back, that are distractions, and just get to work. Yeah, it's really true. Well, you know, you're inspiring to me, and every time I talk to someone who is a few decades older than me, it usually reminds me of how much I'm not getting done, because there's something about a few more decades that makes you realize what's important and what's not. And I'm trying to learn the important stuff and get to it.
Oh, I really love to meet you personally.
I hope we get to someday. That'd be really fun. Tell me this. So in the meantime, how can people like me and other listeners follow you along? Do you have a social media account or website? Where can we go to find out more about you?
My website, I'm sorry, I could not recall.
I think it's, if I've got it here right, I think it's www.vaccph.org. So VACC.
You memorized that well. I'm sorry.
It's VACC, as in Volunteers Against Crime.
Crime and Corruption.
Yep. VACC and then ph.org. And I will link that in the show notes so that people who are reading this can also get a hold of your website and find out what you're doing, because it's a really great work. I appreciate your sharing hope. I really do.
You've just listened to I Share Hope. If you're ready to make a change, head to our website at isharehope.com and claim your free copy of the Top 10 Actions of Hope from World Leaders to use hope in your own life. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.